Good morning, my dear students. Welcome to yet another interesting session of storytelling. Today, we are going to read one story from your Honeydew textbook, Class 8th, Lesson number 3, Glimpses of the Past. Explanation Part 1. Today, I am here to remind you the past of our country. And when we remember our country's past, the one thing comes to our mind is the horrendous British rule. While the British came to India for the purpose of trade, but by the time they left it at 1947, they already ruled over India for more than 100 years. Unbelievably, British became rich, but the Indians lost their lives and their livelihoods. And by the time they went or left India, India was split into many unhappy parts. This chapter talks about the history of India from 1757 to 1857 till the First War of Independence, that is to 1857. The chapter Glimpses of the Past is written by S.D. Sawant, wherein he has given excerpts in the form of comic about the incidents that happened during those times. So, without much ado, let's start reading the chapter Glimpses of the Past by S.D. Sawant. Glimpses of the Past. This chapter was written by S.D. Sawant, or also known as Shivaji Sawant. He was born on 31st August 1940 in Kolhapur, Maharashtra, and was an Indian novelist in Marathi language. He was the famous writer of the novel Mrityunjay, and he was the first Marathi writer who got the prestigious Murti Devi Award in 1994. Shivaji Sawant was a writer, teacher, and editor. He held the vice president of Maharashtra Sahitya Parishad since 1995. But at the age of 62, he died on 18 September 2002 in Goa. This chapter is the pictorial representations of 9 main incidents of the First War of Independence, namely the martyrs, the company's conquests, British rule, Ram Mohan Roy, Operation Dissatisfaction, the Sparks, Revolt 1857, the fight for freedom. Now move for the first part. Let's start with the first part, the martyrs. The word martyr means those who die in the war. Now this is the function in Delhi, and you can see the famous singer Lata Mangeshkar singing a patriotic song about the martyrs who gave their lives for independence. Leaders such as Jawaharlal Nehru, Indira Gandhi, Lal Bahadur Shastri are listening to song that urged everybody to remember the sacrifice of the freedom fighters. Jawaharlal Nehru is the reminded of Gandhiji, Bhagat Singh, Netaji, and many others freedom fighter. The song ए मेरे वतन के लोगों ज़रा आँख में भर लो पानी जो शहीद है उनकी ज़रा याद करो कुर्बानी. The song ए मेरे वतन के लोगों has always been the closest to every Indian heart because it reminds us of sacrifices made by our respectable freedom fighters that we owe our life to them. Next is the company's conquest from 1757 to 1849. With, with its superior weapons, the British East India Company was extending its power in 18th century India. The Indian princes were short-sighted. That upstart Raja Bah called the English merchants. They will help me to defeat him. The people had no peace due to such constant fights. Now here you can see the map of India 1765. You can also have a look at the map of India in 1765 where you can see the majority, the yellow portion under the Indian prince and the pink portion was under British territory. The rivalries, I have just write the meaning also of the word which are difficult. So the rivalries helped the East India Company and it could easily subdue Indian princes one by one. A far-seeing ruler like the brave Tipu of Mysore fought the British till he died fighting. How did Indians react to this conquest? Thank God, there is a peace in the country now. No more wars and no looting by thugs. Our destiny dashed to them. The white man has killed or dethroned the kings. Some kings were not good, but after all, they were of this land. Now, the new king, that is, we call the ruler of Mysore, that is Tipu Sultan king, and he just fight against the British and died there. In India of 1757, British held a very strong position. Of course, they had a superior weapons, but our Indian prince were very short-sighted. They had very immediate aims and they were subdued easily by the British. There came Tipu Sultan, the ruler of Mysore, who was far-sighted and he died fighting British and many people reacted to this the situation differently. Some thought that British were helping them while the other thought that they were being enslaved. Next is the British rule 1765 to 1836. Religious leaders preach ideas like untouchability and child marriage. Anyone who crosses the seas loses his religion. All the misery in the world is due to women. The truth was that Indians had lost self respect. The British scorned them. The natives are unworthy of trust, incapable of honesty. Being merchants, the British wanted quick profits. Their heavy taxes forced farmers to abandon their fields. But your men are talking all my but your men are taking all my crop. You are still in arrears. If you don't pay next week, I will send you to jail. Inevitably, famine followed between 1822 and 1836. 15 lakhs Indians died of starvation. Still, the British invented other methods which gave them more profits. The goods manufactured in England should not have any import duty when brought to India. A good idea. The East India Company's law began to cripple Indian industries. The British policies ruined the expert artisans and their business. Now, from 1765 to 1836, the religious preachers started preaching the practices like untouchability and child marriages. The Indians had totally lost their self respect, and the British took the advantage of this. This conned them, they humiliated them. The farmers and artisans were heavily taxed. The imports from England had become duty free, or you can say tax free. But the worst thing was that they cut the thumbs of the artisans so that they can never flourish. They were cutting the thumbs of the artisan so they can never flourish, they can never work, they can never do the perfect work. So the Britishers were cutting the thumbs of the artisan. Next, Ram Mohan Roy from 1772 to 1832. Ram Mohan Roy, a learned man from Bengal, understood what was wrong with the country. Let us not despise ourselves. Our ancient culture is great, and we are capable of greater achievements. We must first reform our society. Superstitions have been ruining us. He told his wife Uma, cows are of different colors, but the color of their milk is the same. Different teachers have different opinion, but the essence of every religion is the same. He was attracted by science and modern knowledge. Knowledge should be practical and scientific. He crossed the seas and went to England to see what made the British powerful. There he told them, we accept you as rulers, and you must accept us as subjects. But you must remember the responsibility a ruler owes to his subjects. He started a newspaper, but the suspicious British stopped them in 1823. Then came Raja Ram Mohan Roy from Bengal, who understood the problems happening in the country. He preached everyone that all religions are same. He tried to convince people not to follow those unreligious practices like untouchability and child marriages. But he was more fascinated by science and technology and knowledge. So he went to England to talk to the British people and tried to convince them they are ruling the country. They have to look after their subjects too. Subject mean people. They were ruling on Indian peoples. So here people is known as subjects. Slowly he started his own newspaper through which he tried to communicate with the masses for freedom fighters. But the British came to know about this and they stopped his newspaper in 1823. Next topic is operation. Operation 1765 to 1835. Operation means control in a cruel manner. But the British continued to oppress Indians in 1818. They had passed Regulation 3rd. Under it, an Indian could be jailed without trial in a court. All the time, British officers in India drew big salaries and also made fortunes in private business. By 1829, Britain was exporting British goods worth 7 crore rupees to India. Governor General Bentinck reported back home. The British proposed to the East India Company's loot while Indian industry began to die. Governor General Bentinck reported back home. The bones of cotton weavers are bleaching the plains of India. The bones of cotton weavers are bleaching the plains of India. This is very important line. Okay. Now here we just understood that in 1880 the British passed the resolution that any Indian would be jailed without a trial. The British started making money and fortune, and by the end of 1829 they were exported from Britain. They were exported goods from Britain worth rupees 7 crore. Okay, the British started making money and fortune, and by the end of 1829 they were exported goods from Britain. Export means to bring goods from other country. So they were exporting goods from Britain worth rupees 7 crore to India. The Governor General Bentinck reported back to his country and he said that the bones of the cotton weavers are bleaching the plains of India. The bones of the cotton weavers are bleaching the plains of India. What does this line mean? What is the meaning of this line? It means that British had making riches. They are becoming rich. They had been prospering over the ruins of Indian industries. Means here the British became rich by destroying the Indians. They becoming rich and rich, powerful. How they became powerful and rich? By destroying, by ruining our people, our trade, our industries. So this is the very important line of this lesson. It means that British had making riches. They had been prospering over the ruins of Indian industry. Okay. All right, students. Now here I rest my video. This was my first part of explanation, and in the second part I will move the story ahead and tell you what happened after this. Till then, keep watch, stay safe, and all the best. Thank you.